Good morning, everybody. My name is Nate Morris, and I'd like to welcome you back to another video. Today we got round number 8 of the summer shootout for y'all. And if you remember last week, we made some setup changes to the car, and I felt like they were going to be really good going forward. Well, we came out, and in second practice on Monday, I went out and ran a 17.73. That's the fastest lap I've ever run in a practice session. So, coming into today, my hopes were that we would qualify into the A main. And then on lap 1 of qualifying, a car spun out in front of me, and I had to take evasive action. And so when we restarted qualifying, I started behind a car that was a little bit slower than I was. So I was afraid it was going to hurt my lap, and it did a little bit. I was slower than I was in practice, but it was still good enough to qualify me 24th in the A main. So for the first time in my career, I don't have to run a B main. We're going straight to the A main. I hope y'all enjoy this video, and let's get into it. This is Zachary Mertes. He drives the O2 car that you've probably seen in a couple of my videos. He also has a YouTube channel called Mertes Racing. So if you would, be sure to go check him out, and you can do that with the link up here in the corner or the link down in the description.
Wins, Lucas Vera with 1 win, Sean McIlerney with 1 win, and they're all up there toward the front of the field. Track caution lights are out, 25 laps to go. It is the VP Racing Fuels Legends cars, semi-pros wheeling and dealing down into turns 1 and 2.
Everybody makes it through turns 1 and 2, and up front the Canadian Austin McDonald, Pictou, Nova Scotia represent. He'll lead lap number 1 here at the Cookout Summer Shootout, but man, he has got a huge group breathing down his neck, led by Brody Gunter, George Phillips, and others. I'll tell you one thing, if they can keep this up right now, though, Austin McDonald might have himself a little bit easier time, Steve. It's easier when they're nose to tail as opposed to when they're 2 and 3 wide behind you.
Yeah, absolutely, and you try to get into the rhythm of it right now as we're 2 laps into this one. As McDonald sets the pace, Brody Gunter runs in 2nd spot. George Phillips is in the 3rd spot. Michael Crafton is 4th. There's Lucas Vera running in position number 5, and they've got him wound up pretty good right now. VP Racing Fuels out. We got a yellow flag, turn number 2. We've got 1 car the wrong way around, and we are under caution on the outside of the front row. Pretty cool stuff, no doubt. Austin McDonald on the inside, Lucas Vera on the high side. Vera's got her wound up down into turn 1 and 2. Gives a little space, just tries to get it rotated well. Brody Gunter sticks his nose into, now Gunter looking for the lace lead as they make their way into turn number 3.
Man, what a move by Florida's Brody Gunter. Got up underneath of Austin McDonald, didn't get off the corner very well, and Brody Gunter got off a little bit better. New leader, lap 4, give it to Brody Gunter, but this is not going to be easy because here comes George Phillips. Austin McDonald's not done yet. He's got something to prove again. As he falls back into 3rd, and oh, Lucas Vera, that choose from 5th spot up to 2nd. Well, it may or may not work out for him now. He's right back to where he was before. Whoa, look at that. Well, that may or may not. Yeah, well, it worked out for him for now, but he has still got his hands full.
Yeah, Mason Laster gets through. Preston Risley got into the back bumper. Lucas Vera, very aggressive with getting down on the inside lane. I can't imagine the frustration of being passed on the high side. Now he's back down in line. Now has to get his rhythm and get that car wound back up from the 6th spot. At the front of the field is Brody Gunter. Brody is 2nd in the point standings entering this week's contest. Really doing a good job. The point leader is George Phillips, right there off the back bumper behind him in the 2nd spot. 3rd spot is Austin McDonald. 4th spot is Michael Crafton. And Mason Lastra, a 2-time winner this season, rides in position number 5.
There you see him making their way off turn number 2, that white car, Michael Crafton, trying to chase down the gray one of Austin McDonald. And even a little bit further back, we talk about Lucas Vera, Steve. That's the advantage of the choose, especially when you decide to get real aggressive with it. Lucas Vera saw that there were 4 cars that did not take the choose. So he said, I'm going to go to the outside. Ultimately, he's only lost 1 spot. So it was worth it. As they say, the juice was worth the squeeze potentially for Lucas Vera. Unfortunately, didn't get a whole lot of juice out of it, but did not lose a whole lot either.
Now, sometimes someone gets crossed up, you're able to get down in line. Sometimes a quick caution brings you down in line as well. So the choose nearly paid off for Lucas Vera. He's in the 6th spot right now. At the front of the field, business is picking up. Brody Gunter is the race leader. 10 laps down, 15 laps to go. But George Phillips is right there off the back bumper, making his way out from turn number 2.
And Phillips has been one of those cars to beat every single week. You've got to outrun him if you want a shot to win this one. And now Gunter kind of gets moved up the racetrack. New leader, lap number 11, George Phillips to the lead. But he now is going to have to deal with Brody Gunter. We've seen this once before this summer. Gunter does not go down easy. He is going to continue swinging back in that 2nd spot to try to find a way back to the point.
Yeah, George Phillips needs to get gone, needs to get a little bit more clearance, and he is doing that. The racer out of Charlotte, North Carolina, yellow flag is out. Yellow flag is out. We got one the wrong way around out here in turn number 2. Looks like Haley again in that number 91 car.
Yeah,
this probably got some damage.
I'd say he's got a little damage, and we knocked out a few cookout barrels as well. So we'll clean the milkshakes up, if you will, and try this again.
Start-finish line. Tighten it up as we go down the backside, please. Leave me a hole. Thank you.
Yikes. That's the biggest wreck I've ever been a part of in my career. Going down the front stretch, I just turned left to try to get underneath him and didn't get far enough to the left. So when he hit the brakes earlier than I was planning on hitting the brakes, we touched tires and it sent me up in the air. And when I came back down, it sent him up in the air. Thankfully, everybody's all right. These cars are super safe, and that's a good thing because that was a nasty wreck. But yeah, everybody's okay, thankfully. And so we're going to be able to fix the front end of my car. It just towed the front tires out a little bit, and so we're going to try to get it back as straight as we can and get back out here, try to log some laps and see if we can pick up a couple of spots. We're 26th right now. If we get a top 20, I think that'd be a miracle. But yeah, we're just going to go out here and see what we can get.
2 more features after this, and we are winding it down here. Round number 8 of the Cookout Summer Shootout, the 30th annual running of the Cookout Summer Shootout. Here we come. George Phillips on the inside. McDonald gets a good wreck. Jackrabbit start on the high side, but Phillips able to put him down, but McDonald squeezes down into the 2nd spot just about. Oh, Brody Gunter says, oh, no, you don't. We got one the wrong way around in turn number 2. The car is one problem, but that fender right in the middle of the racing groove is probably a bigger problem.
Well, looks like we'll at least try to complete lap number 12 for the moment. Field goes by, and now caution is out. So driver number 60 going to go 1 lap down in this one. That is Dylan Faulkner, who has parted with his fender over
the outside. Brody Gunter, Mason Lastra, Michael Crafton, Lucas Vera on the front 6 rows. Here we go. Green lights are on. Racing down into turns 1 and 2. The VP Racing Legends cars off turn number 2.
Oh, hello, middle of the pack. Saw a couple of them sideways fighting for real estate, but they're able to get to and through turns 3 and 4 without problem. As again, George Phillips continues to lead the way in this one. Behind him, though, Brody Gunter now has got his hands full with Austin McDonald. McDonald had a huge slide that time off of turn number 2. He was able to hold on to 3rd, but man, they continue. As the laps get closer to the end, Steve, well, the aggression factor continues to tick up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Austin McDonald's there. Michael Crafton, Tyler Gonzalez having a good run. Oh, around goes Sean McIlerney in the middle of turn number 1. Yellow flag is out. Sean McIlerney had picked up a win a couple of weeks ago in that number 98 car. There he is, the wrong way around. We're under caution yet again. Here in this semi-pro race, 14 down, 11 laps to go. Into tow, they're already wadded up. And we got 1 stop. Oh boy.
Yep, green's out, but not for long. They accordion pretty heavily on the back straightaway coming to green. A couple of guys sped up and stopped, and it just made its way through the field. And
oh, Cameron White, the front end is all tore up on that. Back through the field, Zach Mertes gets out of line to avoid some contact. Pretty heads-up move by him mid-back. Here we come, off turn number 4, a flying restart. 14 down, 11 laps to go. Oh, we got trouble. McDonald is slow on the front stretch. They all go inside, outside, inside, outside, and they all avoid that race car. What a great job of driving by everybody when your fourth-place car, or third-place car stops coming off from turn number 4. There was some heads-up wheeling out there on the front straightaway. And that 31 doing a nice job here tonight as well. Off turn number 4 they come, 14 laps down, 11 laps to go. And the green lights are back out. Boy, Brody Gunther got a good run. Now he got a good shove into the back bumper of George Phillips, racing off turn number 2.
Tell you one thing Brody Gunther has learned is how to do that old bump and run, that little slide him up out of the groove maneuver. Doesn't really go whamming into him, just a slight push and it kind of leans to the back bumper. If you're going to move a guy, Steve, and I know legend car racing often gets sometimes a bad rap for this, but these guys, this is where they learn how to do that. You don't slam a guy, you don't wreck a guy, you just sort of ease into him. And so far, Brody Gunther has mastered that, but guess what? George Phillips mastered it as well.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Michael Crafton was right there in the middle as well. Brody Gunther got down there into the back of George Phillips, but I'm not sure that Michael Crafton didn't help as well, as there was a lot of bumper tag down there. Now watch Crafton massaging the back bumper of Phillips. Phillips slides up the racetrack as they race for a position. And Brody Gunther and Mason Lastra get together now. Oh, Lastra just gives them the heave-ho down into turns 1 and 2.
Live by the sword, die by the sword. If you're willing to do it to someone else, you've got to know that they are just as willing to do it back to you. Brody Gunther, well, looks like they may have gotten the bumpers hung together there as up the racetrack both of them went. Sam Mazzo going to drive by to 3rd, and it is chaos now for about 4th or 5th on back.
It was a game of I'm going to lift so that you don't get behind me. I'm going to lift so you don't get behind me, and they're both about stopped. And ended up losing multiple spots, and now we got them all wadded up off turn number 2. Yeah, that was the classic. I'm going to slow down entering the corner so you don't get to my back bumper. Well, I slowed down, he slowed down, and the guys...
Green in time. Next flag will end the race. Green in time.
Track caution lights have been extinguished. Field is set into turn number 3. George Phillips, Michael Crafton, your top 2. Not only is the green flag displayed, but the time limit flag is displayed as well. Next caution ends it. Crafton all over the back bumper, working over George Phillips. Phillips scampers away off turn number 2.
And he better hurry, because with some of the stuff we've seen tonight, things can change in a moment's notice. If you're farther out ahead of them, they can't get to you. They can't move you up out of the groove. They can't find a way around you that maybe you would not like. So George Phillips trying to do just that here at the conclusion of lap number 19. And behind him, Sam Mazzo goes around, and that will do it. Caution is out. This race is official. George Phillips wins the VP Racing Semi-Pro feature, round number 8 of the Cookout Summer Shootout.
Alright, y'all, that's all for today. Unfortunate how today's race went. It was going so good from qualifying, with qualifying straight in and not having to use a B main. And then on lap 1, I just kind of made a mistake that sent me to the back of the field. And then got in that wreck that thankfully everybody's okay. But it just bent the steering in the front end, so both tires were pointed away from each other. And so it just was a really tough car to drive from that point on. Didn't really have the speed at that point to hang with anybody, so we just tried to hold on, avoid the other wrecks, and get a decent finish. We ended up 20th, so another top 20 here at the shootout. So considering the circumstances, I'll take it. That will move us up into 20th position for the shootout point standings. And for those of y'all who were wondering, Zachary Mertes got his second top 10 of the year in this race. So I need to just start following him and I'll get top 10s. But yeah, if y'all want to go check that out, go check out his YouTube channel in the description. And but for me, that's all for today. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.